Genesis is taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Today, we're going to talk about the recent developments of new products adding to their lineup, former successful models being killed off, and the slow remedy to their greatest weakness. We're going to break it all down for you guys today. Before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about pretty much Asian cars, at least when it comes to news updates. I do review all cars. This week, I'm reviewing a Palisade in the calligraphy trim. I'm also reviewing a Prius Prime. So definitely check out all my previous Genesis reviews as well. And if you're not subscribed, I'd really appreciate that. And if you are a Discord user, feel free to go down in the description and find the Discord link to join the community that we've been building here on the channel. So we're starting off at the Korean car blog. They're kind of like, for me back in the day when I used to look up Lexus news, it was Lexus Enthusiast. This is kind of the modern day version of that, but with Korean cars. So Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, the latest scoops all come from the Korean car blog, and they're typically pretty accurate. I am taking this as gospel here. Genesis to start production of the GV90. We've talked about the GV90 for a couple of years at this point to be a flagship SUV. They already have a flagship, but that is a sedan, the G90. Make sure to watch my review. I'll just play that review as B-roll because that car's incredible. Anyways, the GV90 is going to be the new flagship, and it's going to be fully electric. Now, there were talks recently about next-gen plug-in hybrid and hybrid technology for these Genesis models. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. That may have fizzled out, and that not necessarily entirely for the Hyundai Motor Group. That might be really just focusing on the Hyundai Kia products, where the Genesis brand is supposed to be fully electric by the end of 2025. And this is a next-gen vehicle, meaning it's not going to be on the eGMB platform. It's on a totally new EV platform or the EM platform. There are two different EV platforms that Hyundai is investing in right now to replace the eGMP. Don't think that this is just going to be a luxury version of the Ioniq 9. That's what the Ioniq 7 was going to be, a 3-row EV. And don't think it's going to be just an electric version of the Kia EV9 3-row SUV as well. I think it's going to be a little bit more cutting edge compared to those models. Now, we also have estimated production volumes for these EVs, or should I say the future lineup from Genesis here. We'll have 21,000 units for the flagship GV90, which is about a third of what we'll see on the GV80, which just got refreshed. We'll talk a little bit about the GV80 in this list today. We'll see 40,000 units for the GV70, 51,000 for the G80. Watch my review on the G80 electrified. It is fantastic. So that's 1.1 million units for those premium Genesis models. There's no mention of the G90 in here, interestingly, right? And all the models starting in December 2025, starting with the introduction of this GV90, will be on a new EV platform that is supposed to be in operation until 2033, while they'll have another next-gen platform succeed it. And this vehicle that you see here is a Neo-Loon concept. This was just revealed earlier this year. And how much the GV90 will actually look like this Neo-Loon concept, we will find out. But also remember, we have the Magma, liquid hot Magma lineup coming for Genesis performance models in the near future as well. Here's the sad news for Genesis fans out there, or just any kind of sedan fan, really. The G70 cancellation seems to be confirmed at this point. It's been rumored for a couple of years now since the Stinger's fate was sealed. The Stinger and the G70 are essentially platform mates, brethren, just branded differently, with the G70 having a little bit nicer features and materials. But the powertrains were the same. And in that estimation of annual production that we just talked about, the 1.132 million Genesis models, there was no mention of the G70 or the GV60. Now, I haven't seen any mention of the G90 either. That could be canceled in favor of just one sedan in the lineup, which would be the G80, but we'll see. But it seems to be certain that the G70 is going to be discontinued in the near future. And there's also talks even on the Hyundai and Kia lineups that the K5 and the Sonata could be canceled in the next few years too. All right. But the GV60 as well, which is a really good electric car. The problem is that I get 95% of the same luxury in an Ioniq 5. That's the problem. And the Ioniq 5 looks better than the GV60. So yeah, the GV60 can be discontinued. I don't think anyone's going to be sad about it when Genesis is going to be fully electrifying the GV70, the GV80, the GV90, and the G80. We're not going to miss the GV60, but I know so many of you are going to miss a twin-turbo V6 G70, rear-wheel drive platform with available all-wheel drive. And then just this past year, they updated the base powertrain from 2 liters to 2.5 liters, which is a nice, healthy, free gain there in power and torque. But they talk about how the sales have been going down over the past few years. And yes, they did refresh it maybe a year and a half ago, but it wasn't enough. And because the shift to this new EV platform, the GV70 the G70 sedan would have to be bigger. And at that point, it starts cutting into the G80's class. So they're just like, we're just going to kill it off. It makes sense to me. The G80, I actually like the G80 more than the G70. G70 literally has no back seat. Not even my kids can fit in the back seat, and they have the smallest legs in the world. Also, you guys down below for the G70, let's pour one out for the homie. Here's some good news, all right? If you're a Genesis fan, you want to see this. And if Genesis wants to be successful long-term in the United States, they need to do this. We have more dealerships opening for Genesis that are standalone. They are not sold out of Hyundai mainstream showrooms. So Genesis now has 35 executive storefronts across the U.S., giving them a premium edge. And a lot of people have joked around like, hey, Infiniti should just sell their showrooms to Genesis, and I would not have a problem with that. It would be a bit sad, but Infiniti is in a tough spot right now as we wait for the introduction of the new QX80. So we have 26 new standalone dealerships, which brings a total of 35. And here are the states and where you're going to find them. The first executive storefront opened in Lafayette, Louisiana in April 22. And so you can say 2 years later, we only have 35 total. Still nowhere near where it needs to be. It needs to be over 100, if not 200. If you look at Lexus, Acura, they have hundreds of stores in the 200s, maybe 300s for Acura. I don't really remember for Acura, but I know Lexus has around 250 stores across the nation. 35? How are you going to compete at a huge level when you cannot provide a luxury experience during the buying process and service process? You can do your best at a Hyundai dealership, but ultimately it's a watered down experience rubbing elbows with mainstream Hyundai folk. Genesis expects there will be more than 40 exclusive facilities by the end of the year. Okay, so 5 more, significantly less than the 253 dealers in the Genesis network. So that means 250 are being sold out of the back door of a Hyundai dealership, not the luxury experience that you need to compete. If we look at Genesis sales, they were down in the month of April. They're up so far on the year, just a little bit, 3.4%, but not heading in the right direction, being down 6% here. The new refreshed GV80 should help them. We have a new 27-inch OLED screen, a reworking of the interior, new materials. It looks pretty fantastic. The GV80 wasn't suffering from interior stagnation, I would say, but this is really, really nice. We're over at Autoblog. I couldn't find this image anywhere else with this green and tan interior. It looks incredible. But how much better is it than this right here? Above is the GV80 refreshed interior, and below is the new Santa Fe. The new Santa Fe is fantastic, and it feels much more luxurious and and overall quality in terms of NVH compared to the Palisade I'm driving right now, and that costs a little bit more money. But look, the same general lineup here or layout, screen on the dash or integrated into the dash. But we have two 12-inch screens here on the Hyundai product, where Genesis has a 20, or it's massive. I forget, 27 or 33-inch OLED screen. But the same general layout. You have the vents down below. The Hyundai has this benefit also of this UV sanitation tray, extra storage there too. The door panels are so much nicer, and the under vent dash here is so much nicer on the Genesis model. But Hyundai not that far behind here. We have also a redesigned steering wheel for the Genesis model. I don't know. I liked the 2-spoke one before. Now we have like a three to 4-spoke steering wheel. It's fine, but it's not that far ahead of the really impressive Santa Fe's interior in terms of design. Like I said, the materials are going to be a little bit nicer here on the Genesis, but Santa Fe blew me away, and I cannot wait to test drive the hybrid version of it. And that's something Genesis just doesn't have. They're either fully electric models or a mild hybrid in 1 or 2 models, but mostly turbocharged non-hybrid models that sell in volume here in the United States. Will they be successful going fully electric as they roll out new models 2025 and beyond with the GV90 and all the successive models after that? Time will tell. Genesis and Hyundai do EVs as good as anyone. I'm not that worried for them, but if the market's not ready for Genesis to be fully electric, then it's gonna be tough for them here in the United States, especially with the limitation in luxury dealers. So hopefully they can keep their turbocharged models around for a long time, maybe introduce hybrids to fill in for the transition period from internal combustion to EV, but time will tell. I can't wait to see your comments down below. Excited for Genesis with the new GV90. Sad for Genesis with the cancellation of the G70 imminent, and then new dealerships coming online. But is it enough to keep their sales from sliding as we go further on into 2024? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Smash a like button if you enjoyed the video. And just a reminder, if you want to join the Discord, it's in the description below. Peace out.